commission for quite a few years, and now Councilman Hall is on there now. The request that I made to Gary, and he passes it on to you, is that in case we had any questions or the residents had any questions, it'd be better for you guys to be here and answer those rather than us going back and forth. So hopefully we can get everything settled tonight. So yeah, Brian Lynch, if you would like to introduce your team here and then take the floor, it's all yours.
Appreciate it. To my left is Tom Williams, who's our Chief Technical Officer. To his left is our Senior Director of Technical Operations for Broadband. And to his left is our VP of Finance and Administration, Carroll County. We're very pleased to be here today. We really appreciate your interest in the meeting. We have a presentation to run through real quick for you, or we can just take questions, whatever you prefer.
Okay, presentation, if you want to run through that. Would it be best if Brian sat at a desk with a microphone?
Yeah, and anywhere close to a microphone if you want to stand up or if you want to get...
Either one. We got two microphones over here. That way our viewers at home can hear.
Just let me know when you want to move to the next slide.
Let me just start off with a little bit of background. We became interested in expanding our services to outside of our incumbent service area in Washington County, where we've been for 55 years, several months ago. And looking at areas of possible expansion, I had former operating experience with Carroll County before in a previous life. I knew it was a good county, vital county, good communities and the like. And we feel this is the right area for us to expand in, and that's what we're trying to do now. But we want to bring to the community a fiber to the home delivery system, which means synchronous services both up and down, same speeds. So we can do up to 5 gig at the outset with a product of 2.5 gig as our highest, moving to 5 gig and do up to 10 later, and eventually even higher speeds without even having to do anything different with the cables on the ground and the cables on the poles. So we'll start the presentation now. Tom, you want to take it over?
The big message here is that we are a local company, and we not only invest in our network within the local company, we hire locally, and we also give back to our local communities. In fact, just with the pandemic, we've given over $2 million in local investment around the pandemic and helping our local communities be safer ultimately. We, again, give back to our network. So everything that we do, we focus on reliability on a day-to-day basis. We focus on customer service. And again, it's all local. In the last few years, we've changed the way that we interact with our customers. So not just a phone call to us, we also could do things like text to chat and chat functionality so that we are able to provide the service in the way that our customers want to interact with us. And it's been a real helpful tool for us to be able to work with our customers. We have over 200 Wi-Fi hotspots that are available throughout our current footprint. And we'd certainly look to expand some of that here in the city so that your residents will have Wi-Fi service here in the city as well in common areas types of situation. And again, over the last decade, we've put over $70 million in capital investments in our properties today. What we're looking to do is come to New Windsor and with our own investment and invest in your community to help it have multi-gig next generation types of services. Next slide. So as I mentioned, this is our intent, is to come to Carroll County, and this is the first interaction that we've had with one of the cities so far, so thank you for having us again. But New Windsor, as Brian mentioned, looks like a great place for us to come and bring these types of services. And again, these are next generation services. As Brian mentioned, we can do 5 gigabits today, but also we have the infrastructure in place that will be able to do up to 10 gigabits in the near future. And what's really great is based on what we've put in from a fiber optic and back office perspective, once the optics are available, we'll be able to go up to 25 gigabits in the next few years once the optics prices comes down. So we're really excited about what we're putting in place so that your residents have the latest and greatest technologies in the ground and in the air. Next slide, please. So again, as Brian mentioned, we are going to be offering on the onset a 300 gig service, and this is all symmetrical. So it's 300, 300, 600, 600, 1.3, 1.3, and 2.3, 2.3. That means you're getting as much speed on the upload as you are on the download. That will help with your residents be able to upload videos better, be able to use their security cameras better, and there will be plenty of bandwidth for your customers or your residents to be able to just do general items on the internet. Since we've launched 2.3 in one of our areas, it has been really popular. People like to have the fastest speeds, even though they may not need it, but it's been a really great product for us, and it continues to grow. And in fact, it's pulled along some of our other services like the 1.3 because people just want that faster speed. They don't want to see the scrolling bar, and they don't want to wait any longer. This is a world of, you know, instantaneous gratification, and that's what these speeds really give you. We'll also be launching what's called our smart Wi-Fi service, which is the next generation, and it says Wi-Fi 6, but we'll be launching Wi-Fi 6E in the near future, which allows for the 6 gigahertz band to be activated, and that allows for much faster speeds across all of your devices, as long as it's 6E capable, of course. But again, our objective is to bring the latest technology to the different areas that we're deployed in. And we are looking at a phone service as well. We have deployed in our areas, and we are able to use our smart Wi-Fi device to be able to provide phone service in the home should the residents use that as well. And then finally, we're looking at this as a broadband only for right now. Video may come later, but we're going to focus on broadband because we think that's what our consumers, the consumers that are out in these areas, that's where what they really want is broadband, fast broadband, reliable broadband.
So residents would have options of 4 speeds?
Yes, sir.
At least.
At least.
It'll only go up. We'll be launching a 5 gig service in the near future as well. Next slide, please. So this has been really good. We've had this deployed, I think, for the last, 18 or so months. And what we wanted to do is, you know, there's a lot of misconceptions going around with contracts and throttling speeds and all these different types of things, and there's promotions and there's not promotions, and nobody knows what they're really under. So what we decided to do was create a everyday low price type of scenario so that our customers know exactly where they stand from a pricing perspective. It doesn't change. A year from now, it doesn't change. 2 years from now, it doesn't change. It's just everyday low pricing. We've made it relatively easy, 59, 69, 79, 89, and 99, which is our 2.3 gig service. So we've just made it really, really easy. There's no contracts at all. We do not throttle our speeds. There are no data caps. So we've made it very easy for the consumer to know exactly what they're going to pay on a month-to-month basis. Next slide, please. So this is the area. Let's cut off just a little bit. I have it right here. And so what we're looking at for Carroll County as a whole, we're looking at around 157 miles of underground and 122 miles of aerial, passing about 40,000 homes. We're expecting to spend about $32 million across Carroll County. But let's focus a little bit on New Windsor. We plan on putting 1 PON cabinet, and I'll show you what that is. And what PON means is passive optical network, which is essentially what the infrastructure that we're putting in place. But for New Windsor, we'll be putting in about 8.9 miles of aerial, about 4.3 miles of underground, passing around 700 homes, and we know that that fluctuates a bit. And we're estimating the cost build to be about $1.2 million. And again, that's privately funded. We're going to fund that. Next slide, please. This is what a typical PON cabinet looks like, or passive optical network PON cabinet looks like. And those are MSTs that's what we feed the homes from, those little black devices. That's what we'll feed the homes from, the individual networks, but it'll all be fed from that PON cabinet. We only need 1 for New Windsor. Next slide, please. So one of the things that we want to do is, and we're talking to the county to utilize the county fiber network. They do have fibers available. Once we start getting some traction with the different towns, like yours, for instance, we'll be signing a contract with them and working with them on a day-to-day basis on really creating that ring that we need so that we have better reliability for your individual town. And we'll be able to have bandwidth going in each direction around, and that makes us a lot more reliable. So if something happens, and something invariably does, a truck hits a pole or something like that and knocks out our fiber, you will stay operational because we will have that fiber ring in place around the county. And again, it's utilizing county resources. So we'll be working in partnership with you and the county in order to make this work for us and you. Next slide, please. So this is kind of a timeline of what it looks like. We're expecting the walkout and design, that's where we actually walk out the entire plant, to take about 45 days or so, and we have to design all of that out, make sure we have all the right equipment on order. The good news is we've kind of hedged our bets a little bit, and we have some of the items on order, so it won't, we're not looking at end of 2023 from a timing perspective in order to receive equipment. We've already started getting some of that. We intend on starting construction for both aerial and underground in about 90 days. That could fluctuate, a week in either direction, but that's roughly what we think it'll be. And then activation of our first customers in 2023, the first quarter, which is relatively quick for a build like this. But again, we believe in this market and the town, and that's why we want to do it as quickly as possible so that your residents can start utilizing these faster speeds and more reliable network with fiber optic. And then we expect all of Carroll County to be done around the fourth quarter of 2024. So again, for all of Carroll County, that's a relatively quick build to be able to do that. What's great is by utilizing the county fiber network, that actually gives us a pretty quick leg up to be able to hit the various towns. From a construction perspective, Aerial will be lashing fiber on the strand. That's what our standard practice is. And we will be working with we do have contractors that we use that are authorized by us, and they will work with the municipality to get the proper permitting needed for any work zones or road closures. We'll work closely with everyone here in order to make sure that everybody understands exactly where we're working and when we're working, so that if there needs to be any reroutes or anything like that, your residents will know, you'll know. Underground construction will be completed through traditional construction practices, and this is really important because we go up against some of our some other competitors, and they do things like micro trenching, and micro trenching isn't great because what happens is that causes more fiber cuts in a lot of cases. We put ours in the right place in the ground. We make sure we make sure everything's marked so that we don't cut anything else like a gas line or electricity or anything like that. And again, we work with the local markets to make sure that that goes off without a hitch. Yes, sir.
You said in the right place. Is there optimal place where you put that cabling? Is it a foot down, 2 feet down, or?
Yeah. So what we typically do is we want to make sure we're in utility right of way and we're following communication protocol, which is typically 18 to 24 inches.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
And what we also do is we put conduit in, so every piece of cable we put in the ground won't be direct bury, it's actually through conduit.
Sure.
So if there is any damage to that, we can pull new cable through.
Right.
And, as Tom was speaking about micro trenching, what they typically do with micro trenching is they'll do that in the roadways or the edge of the road.
Oh.
Ends up causing damage down the road, long-term damage, where you're going to end up having to repave sooner and other damage along that way. We stay out into the grassy areas, into that utility right-of-way, so it's a cleaner end-use product.
And one other follow-up question. Thank you for that. In terms of timeline, you mentioned first quarter of 2023. Does that incorporate lead times for supply chain issues? I know we've got a project that we're working on now.
Yes, sir, it does. As I mentioned, we kind of hedged our bets a little bit, and we have already started.
Okay.
We already ordered equipment, not starting equipment. We have ordered equipment.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. For the aerial lines that you're putting up, are they going to be going like side by side with the lines that are already up for different reasons? The phone and that sort of thing, or are they separate lines?
Go ahead, Ed.
So what we do with aerial construction is we'll have to work with power company. Most of these poles are with Potomac Edison. As we get further out, it may become PG&E. But there's standards on the poles, so it's 40 inches from power, 12 inches to the next communication, 12 inches to the next communication. So we'll be on poles here, we'll be just above where the current provider is. So about 12 inches higher than that, 40 inches down from power.
So you'll be on the same existing poles?
Same existing poles, not adding poles.
And I guess this is actually a question for you. Is this going to run simultaneously with what they're doing on the road out here? On the Maryland 31? Well, it won't interact with that at all?
It depends on where they need the right of way, because they're, like they said, they mentioned they have one box. And then obviously the individual residents will have a smaller box, but the one big box, I would assume, would have to be in the right of way.
That's correct.
In town.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
But most of, let's just say, Old Town, you're going to be using
It'll just be on the
infrastructure. So they're not going
phone.
to be worrying, the
We're going to follow the other
streetscape's not
utilities
going to have anything to do
where
with it.
they are.
And where will that one pond unit go?
So we're actually looking at several areas. We had a conversation with Gary and Wayne, and they had pitched or talked about a potential location that they knew of for us to take a look at. We're also looking at maybe somewhere along 75 where we could place it there and feed into town, and also be able to use that same location if we would get into Union Bridge or some of the other areas.
Okay, thank you.
And just to circle back around to something that Ed said, we do go into the grassy areas and into the right-of-ways. What's important is the last bullet is we will always make sure that we bring the area back up to speed pre-build. And that's really important to us. Our contractors take pictures before, and then we can evaluate it after the build occurs. And we try to bring it back to pre-build the way it looked before. Next slide, please. That's really it for our prepared comments. Do you have any questions at all?
I know I'll get these, or council will get a couple of these probably from people that live outside of town. But basically, I think the answer is, or you've already approached that or addressed that by saying that you're going to be by 24 going countywide. So,
Yes, sir.
I know there's been times where people have wanted from outside of town, and Comcast doesn't reach that part. So I don't know if you're looking at reaching parts of the county that's not being addressed now or not, but
We, as a part of this bill, we probably have the same economic limitations that Comcast does. The rate of return on construction is really difficult, below 25 homes per mile. However, there are federal monies and some state money that's going to be going on in grant cycles over the next 2 years that are indeed for exactly that kind of purpose.
okay.
Once we get our feet under us to know where these locations are, with your guidance as well, perhaps, we can possibly apply for some of those funds and use it to update those areas as well.
And as mayor, I'm obligated to ask this question.
Sure.
Is there a financial gain to the town?
There is not a direct financial gain to the town. We are not providing video, so there's no franchise fee. If we do provide video, we would come back to you for a franchise for providing video, and then a franchise fee would come with that. There is an economic value to the homeowner to have fiber available to the home, like a 6% increase of value to having fiber available to the home. The data is 2 years old now, but it's not that far off. So there is economic value from, you'll see your gig city as well, from a business standpoint. And I think it has monetary value, at least in some way.
All right. And do you need storage? I don't know if you talked to Gary and Wayne about, you need storage or anything in the town and head in?
So, no, the advantage of building it as a pond network is we don't have to have a localized head end.
Okay.
That's what those pond cabinets will basically take the place of. As we work with our contractors, there is a possibility that our contractors would want to secure a lot or some type of storage facility, warehousing facility, as they bring in additional materials and get started with the build.
Right, we'll want to place materials down here instead of in Washington County. It just makes it a lot more efficient for us to work.
And I'm sure Gary and Wayne have already addressed that. You hear that, Gary?
Yes, we didn't talk specifically about that, but we can certainly do that moving forward. Sure.
And just, this might be helpful to you guys. Music on the Main is our street event, Saturday, October 1st. If you wanted to have a booth there, to promote what's going on, depending upon, what the council decides, but if the council decides to go forward with this, you would be more than willing to have a bigger.
We appreciate that.
be
Yeah,
that's
open to
great.
have a
Thank you for
booth
that
there.
awareness.
And I'm sure there'd be a lot of residents from throughout the county that would like to have more information as well, so.
Who should we work with on that?
Gary, I expect.
Yeah, anyone in town hall, myself, Sharon,
Kalina's on the call too, so.
what's that?
Kalina's on the call. so-
Kalina, if you call town hall, Kalina, we ask for a big $25 deposit, and you get that money back when you show up. So it's a free booth.
All right,
Great,
If you'd
thank you.
like sponsorship opportunities, give me a call.
very good.
Great, thank you.
I think we have one question.
Go ahead.
One question, guys. The 1.3 gig, is that up and download?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
It is.
That's impressive, okay. And then the pricing that you showed, what about for business pricing?
Business pricing is different, but we have a different subset of pricing and packages.
And would it include with the phone line as well?
Absolutely.
And if you want to introduce yourself so that they know, and I'd like to know how that would help you.
I mean, for the town, having high speed like that, like we have Comcast, and I have a gig service. And then what I do is I have the Google Wi-Fi extender, so you mentioned the newer Wi-Fi, which is the fast 5 speed, or 5 gig actually would benefit. The techs use them, we use it. Like you say, it increases the speed, so you don't have any lag. You can have, like for myself in the computer, I can have multiple screens open and do multiple tasks and not have to have lag. Right now I do. I have Comcast and I have the gig service and I get like 700, maybe, and it's really not that. I know what I'm looking at, so it's like 600. So you're paying for a service you're not getting, so that's why with the fiber, the real fiber optic, it'd be a big benefit. Also to have people bring companies into New Windsor. Some, like you said, with the housing, that's a value to the housing, anyone building a house, but also for businesses coming in, because everyone uses computers now. And even for us, we're automotive, we manufacture auto parts and restore cars, and like I said, I need higher speed, it would benefit me.
Yeah, the speed is.
I sign up instantly for that.
The speed is terrific, and the real value to the speed is being able to use the upstream with multiple cameras on your home security network. Right now, the average home has 18 devices connected to their Wi-Fi at any given time. And when you just accumulating that volume of use, that brings value to the higher speed. It's not getting you there any faster, for the most part, above a certain threshold, but it's wider, it captures more stuff, and is able to support more products in the home, both up and down.
That's a good point, because I have 7 cameras,
Yep.
and with those, yeah, it's taking up the bandwidth.
Your bandwidth up is only 35 right now. 35 megs you're getting up right now. With this, you'd get the same up and down. This would be similar, sort of like what, if anybody's aware of Westminster's Ting network, that came in, put fiber throughout the Westminster area. I think it's a great idea. I'd really like to see some of the proposals and where the locations for the rights of way would need to be, and just the actual nitty-gritty details that we could get started on that. From my
Yeah,
perspective.
as we go through the design phase, we can certainly work with you and show you some of the things that we're doing so that this can be a quick and successful
Essentially,
build.
we're going to mirror the placement, the utility placement in the easement of your town now.
Yes, sir.
I don't understand exactly whether or not there is fiber up there or not. There are tubes sticking down to conduit really, if indeed that is already fiber, how does this, what you're doing with fiber relate to that?
It wouldn't
Well,
relate to
that what he's talking about is the Carroll backbone that you guys
That
would
is the
be
backbone?
leasing off of.
Okay.
So that backbone comes down 75, and then it also comes right into town hall. That's actually what they use for the camera systems for the town hall. It goes to all fire departments in the county. They use it for sports broadcasting.
So it is fiber?
So they do have a fiber line that goes right down that road.
Fiber line in the reserve?
If it's orange, if it's an orange line, so it would be in the right of way of the highway. It wouldn't be in the reserves, but it should be right on the highway.
This appears to be orange conduit that is sticking up out of the ground. Most of them are near a Verizon box.
Yeah, what I'm talking about would not be Verizon, and
I'm not asking whether it's.
It wouldn't change.
What I'm trying to determine is if indeed there is fiber in the reserve.
We don't know. We can't set on it for us, but we can tell you it wouldn't dissuade us from building there also. Brian, it wouldn't dissuade us from building there also.
Yeah.
And just to give every customer a choice.
Dick Carlson, the Reserve. Do you have this presentation available where I could bring it on? And,
It's not a public document yet.
okay,
I'd be happy to work with you when it is.
okay.
And when would you, I mean, I know you'd like to have an answer tonight, but what's your
We're very-
timeframe to having an answer?
As soon as practical is the best answer I can give. We're gonna have to start someplace, and we because you guys called us first, we'd love to start here. We're happy to work with you until you get comfortable making the right decision for the town.
Okay. And this might be a work session, the third Monday of the month, decision-making, because we are missing 2 council members, and I'd like for them to weigh in.
We'd love
on
to
it.
come back.
And then Gary, I don't know if you have any comments tonight, but, I think this ought to be on the work session, and then hopefully make a decision one way or the other, so we're not holding anything up one way or the other.
Sure, we can definitely get it on the work session agenda. I know we're 2 council members short, but as you said, it'll be the third Monday of the month. I don't have the date. Well, yeah, I do have the date. Hang on. It is that at the end of my report. Bear with me here. It's September 19th is our next work session, so we can definitely get that on the agenda.
Do you have any other comments, Gary?
No, I think it sounds very good. I did forget to mention to the folks there about the streetscape project and the water line project, but I don't think there's going to be any issues with that. And now that we have pretty much, which I'm going to be reporting on here later, the finalized water line plans, we can certainly share those with the Antietam folks, and just so that they can coordinate location within the area where High Street and Main Street, where the new water line's going. But I don't see that being an issue. It's more of just a coordination issue on their part at this point, I think.
Because we're still months away from shoveling the ground.
Yeah, it's in my report. Spring next year.
Spring. So I
They should
think,
be done.
yeah, our streetscape project,
Oh, okay.
like they've had in other municipalities, where we have to replace a water line on Route 31 going through town. So, but if that's not till spring, then if we
As you said,
decide
hopefully we're
that
done already.
you should be in and out by that time. And if nothing else, you make a high priority to get Main Street and High Street done, and
Absolutely.
then that way it's no interference with anything. Council, have any other questions? All right, so we'll be on our agenda for the work session on the 19th, and hopefully we'll have an answer for you by Tuesday the next day.
Great.
Good.
All right.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Safe travels. All right, mayor's report. You got that, didn't you? You didn't get it again?
No,
I sent it. I know I sent it.
I got the chief one.
What's that?
I got the chief.
right, let me see if I'm bringing it up here. Still didn't get it. All right. Well, we'll have to remember everything. Of course, I make the meetings, the council meeting, work session. I think I made that last musical in the main meeting. I worked on an email, got that out over the weekend for sponsorships for musical in the main. I'm not sure if you guys have received an email from Kalina about potential sponsorship opportunities. It was for the stage sponsorship, wine and beer garden, 4 band sponsorships, Moonbound sponsorship. Sound system has already been taken by the Lions Club, hopefully. I'll get that approved next Wednesday. The 4 band, I forget what else, if there was anything else. All the tents, 3 tents, sponsorships, and day after, I guess it was Tuesday, probably, everybody was off Monday, Tuesday. I received a phone call, we already have one $500 band sponsorship, Lehigh, Portland Cement, so. And then also we met with State Highway Administration, I think it was on the 18th of August, the task force. There was quite a few things that I was not real pleased with that they have taken out over the years, and it'll be my task as mayor to get that approved by State Highway and funded by the state of Maryland. I've already talked to Secretary David Brinkley, who's Secretary of Budget Management, at length a couple times. He met with the Secretary of Transportation down at Mako. They talked a little bit. Of course, all projects now are over budget because of all the rising costs of everything. So, of course, projects like this are put on hold or moved back a little bit. But with this being the last year for Governor Hogan in there and Secretary Brinkley, I feel we need to be as active as we can, and Secretary Brinkley told me to send him a budget request that he will have, hopefully, the governor put into the budget, and then they'll have to work with the transition team of the new administration, whether or not it gets approved or not. But, you know, when I feel we're only about, I say only, on a state level, it's only, I think, $3.5 million away from the full project. And we've been working on this since 2014, the second time around. And I will keep doing what I can to get that fully funded for State Highway Administration. And I'll also be talking to Congressman Raskin's office while he's still our congressman. And then I'll work on the next one. So I think that was mostly it. I've been working on some of the MML stuff. We got the VMS sign for Music on the Main lined up, 2 of those, and things are moving. So anybody have any questions for me? All right. Community enhancement, Councilwoman Griffin Lumen.
Okay, thank you. Sure, you can put that up, that'd be good. And good evening to everybody. Well, I've attended a few things this past month as well. I went to the National Night Out by Officer Calusi, and he did a fabulous job on that. It was a great evening, and we had participation from people in this room from Eclectic Motor Cars were down there. It was just a fun evening. Great job. And then I also was at the State Highway Task Force meeting on the 17th, and you know, that was a great meeting. I do a lot of listening at these because I'm learning a lot as that goes along. You may have noticed there's some signs around town commemorating the 225th anniversary of the founding of New Windsor, and that's going to be sort of our theme for Music on the Main. And so those banners are up, and I think they look really good. As of yesterday, the signs for Music of the Main have been put up around town, And the banners should be up by the end of the week, and they all got backed up a little bit because of sicknesses and things like that, so got a little bit put
I
back.
saw 2 banners up today.
Oh, were they already up? Okay, I haven't really been out around in the car today, so I didn't notice. Okay, so they're all up,
Signs
that's
coming
great.
in to town from Westminster.
Okay, that's fabulous. Okay, so all the banners and the signs are out then. Let's see, currently we have at least 35 vendors and maybe more, so we're pretty excited about that. I also I sent an email to Donna Jean Scheibunko today to just give her the list of the bands and the times that they were playing for Music on the Main, so they can include that in the public service announcements. I also got a singer for the national anthem for us today, and she's very excited. It's a 15-year-old student, and she's really excited about coming to sing here, so that'll be great. And the next meeting for Music on the Main is next Tuesday at 7 p.m. here in Town Hall.
Thank
So
you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Just to tag along on Music on the Main, I did send Governor's Chief of Staff a request for both the governor and lieutenant governor to attend Music on the Main, since they both have been out here, so I haven't heard anything back, so hopefully one of them will come out.
That'll be exciting.
All right. Public Works, does Councilman Huffman have a report?
Not really. Public Works has kind of been stuck on water sewer, so I guess I'll go over that next.
All right. Water and Sewer, Councilman Hall?
So, just starting off, I had one meeting last month with Wayne, Gary, and myself. We discussed some potential future repairs, basically some updates that we could make to the emergency response plan, and also some potential water sources, future water sources for the town. Some of the issues that happened this last month was August 23rd. There was a water main break near Hillside Drive. Wayne quickly discovered that after there was a significant leak and made repairs that same day within a few hours. There also was another issue September 1st on Church Street where there was sewer backup caused by tree roots. So Wayne, they ended up hydrojetting the tree roots to clear the line. And then we're looking at potential remediations for the future, such as sewer lining that will prevent that going forward. So Wayne's going to look at that. It'll also help I&I in the area. That's basically whenever storms come, there's a lot of flow through the sewer system, a significant amount of just regular rainwater coming through and going through our sewer system. Now that is problematic for us because we have to treat all that water. So if there's a large rainfall, large amount of water, it makes the sewer system treatment work overtime. So that prevents issues in there. It prevents excess water from entering the sewer system. Some improvements that happened the last month were the SCADA system was reconfigured to maximize pump efficiencies. That helps the well recovery speeds so that there could be higher water output while staying in a responsible manner. So we're not pumping too much water out where the well can't reproduce the water quick enough. Also, there were some infrastructure improvements to reduce the dependency on the main spring site. That just helps us in emergency situations where we need, if one site went offline, we can rely on other sites as well. Some upcoming meetings that I have is the 13th. We have a kickoff meeting with GMB for the main street line repair. Some improvements that are coming in soon. We have a 3-phase pump on order for mainspring. Some VFDs and digital output cards are recommended. That basically just helps Wayne control the water system more accurately, more precisely than what we currently have. And then we're also looking at possible exploratory wells or hydrofracking existing wells. That just helps produce a higher input so that if we ever had a site go offline, that we have more an ability to have more water at different sources. And then also another formation of a water sewer task force is in the works. So that way we can prioritize a lot of these issues that we're seeing, a lot of these improvements. The task force is going to be stood up probably in the next month, and we can start really developing a plan for the months, years, and going into the future. So that's all I have in my report. If anybody has any questions.
Thank you. Just like to give a special thank you to Wayne and his crew and Gary working together to take care of the issues that seem never to go away. I would just like to make a comment. I know people and probably some council members here who have made comments over the years about maybe my decisions or the council's decisions over the years of the infrastructure improvements we've been making. If you take a look at what's going on around the country, Jackson, Mississippi, they are in unbelievable situation. Baltimore, Maryland, under unbelievable situations. And I'm not saying we're exempt from any of that happening here, but I feel since 2009, we stopped kicking the can down the road and we started making improvements so that these issues did not come to New Windsor and cost us a whole lot more. So, I know myself and some of the council members have taken a lot of heat over the years, but I think we are in a lot better shape now because of the decisions we have made in the last 12, 13 years. And hopefully going forward, as you heard Councilman Hall say, we're still going to continue making those improvements. They are not without a cost, but it will be up to the council and myself to make sure that it's not a financial hardship on anybody, but we cannot kick the can down the road anymore. So as you see around the country, I think the town of New Windsor is in good shape, and that's because of the decisions that have been made and the staff that we have, especially with Jack Coe and Wayne Myers not missing a beat, taking care of our system. So I want to thank everybody that has supported me and the council in the past for making these improvements, even though they have been tough decisions. So thank you. Public safety, Councilman Cornick.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Hall, Councilman Hall, if you could put that up, I would appreciate it. I'll read from my notes, and while you're doing that, I'll piggyback on the mayor's comments. Interestingly enough, I was watching the news right before our meeting today, and one of the executives in Baltimore was talking about the issues they're having with water. Obviously, we all know about Flint, Michigan, and others, and then, like you said, down south today. It becomes a public safety concern because, sometimes we take water for granted, but there's a lot that goes into maintaining that. So like the mayor said, I really want to commend our staff for the small town that we are. We're really grabbing the bull by the horns and trying to stay on top of this, and it's all for the betterment of the community. All right, so in terms of public safety for the month, obviously, I'll also kind of reiterate how great, almost did it again, called it Music on the Main, National Night Out. It was an extreme success. I think we really don't realize. Maybe we do. I think we do realize the great job that Deputy Calusi does on that, and he almost single-handedly kind of orchestrates that with the help of the volunteers that he gets. But kudos to you, Deputy Calusi, for that. But I did attend that, and then I also continued my search for traffic safety and speed reduction remedies. One of the things, it was brought to my attention that we have some issues in other parts of our community, but it seems to be, in terms of public safety, one of the biggest issues that we're having in the community is speed. And I've witnessed it on a routine basis, and obviously it's not, something that's unique to the town of New Windsor. If you drive around the community, I was down south for a good while over the last month, and even in places that are kind of historically slow-paced communities, you're starting to see people, with excessive speed. So I don't quite know the answer. That we could try to take punitive actions. I think it's going to take community involvement and people, kind of reaching out to citizens and explaining the detriment that excessive speed can have on the community. So some of the things I came up with in terms of proposed remedies, increase community signage, speed calming humps, and that's specifically geared to smaller communities or smaller sections in the community. In addition to traffic curbing, calming curbing, rumble strips, and I know we've talked about a lot of these, and then community notifications. So what I mean by that is maybe if you have not necessarily a town leader, but a community leader in your little neighborhood, that if you have communities, you can kind of reach out via notifications through email or just pamphlets to say, this is our community. And there's some creative ways to do it. And I've kind of been doing a little research on that. But I think getting the word out and making it an issue or a topic of discussion in the small communities, maybe we start at a grassroots level and that it blossoms into something bigger. I'm still reaching and looking for things to try to help solve it. But I wanted to let the town know that I'm still working on that. To that end, the pictures that I've included, I know you probably can't see those from here, but these are pictures of what the town of Gaithersburg has done with their downtown and with the traffic speed reduction curbing, where they're bringing the curbs into the roadway, not to the point where it impedes traffic, but it kind of narrows the pathway. And on that note, that kind of bleeds into the second part of what I was going to say. I reviewed the notes of the notes in the SHA PowerPoint presentation for the streetscape project, and thankfully, and I don't want to steal Manager Dye's thunder in any way, so I'll just leave it that the good news about that meeting was that they incorporated the traffic calming curbing into the project on the updated design. So. Again, these are just pictures. I kind of was out when my wife and I were out, and I was like, hey, there's an example of what they're potentially going to be doing. So I took some pictures and included that in. And again, like I said, I fortunately travel and kind of talk to people about what they do in their communities. Had the chance of kind of watching some town meetings in Wilmington, North Carolina, on their town television system, and interestingly enough, speed is an issue in some of their towns too, almost to the point that some of these communities are a lot larger than ours, but they've had some really, the speed has been a detriment to their communities, almost to the point of fatalities, just because people aren't paying attention to what they're doing when they're driving. So everybody's faced with this, and there are some interesting remedies, some of which may not fit us, but we're working on it. So last but not least, this is something that Deputy Calusi said he's going to pick up on later, but I just wanted the town to know that the community drug take back will be later this fall, and the dates will be given down the road a little bit. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Economic development.
Here's a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, we're about to use the speed camera.
Speed cameras. So
That has to be approved by Annapolis.
yeah.
We can't just put them up. And it's, I think, very difficult to get them approved.
Montgomery can, everywhere you go in Montgomery County,
I got a couple of them.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah. Well, to that end, I will say this. We have investigated, and we still have the numbers for next year's budget. I know that it's next year, but we did investigate. If you've noticed, when you're going past 7-Eleven, maybe I shouldn't say that, but we've had the actual speed, the speed limit radar, speed limit detectors that we're looking into possibly incorporating in the budget for next year, additional ones. So we are looking at that. As far as speed cameras, though, that I think that road is a little more difficult to kind of travel.
It would seem to be the most cheapest option, wouldn't it? Other than playing around with this, the streets.
I can't speak to that, but I would imagine.
At least it gets revenue.
Not for the town.
Not for the town.
Yeah,
Okay.
That money doesn't come to localities.
Okay.
yeah.
Not even in Montgomery County, I don't think.
Can I ask you a question? What is it mostly when it comes from Westminster to Windsor?
I've never done a study on that. I guess
We've had studies, and believe it or not, it's not as bad as what everybody thinks it is. People think, they're speeding 20, 30 miles over the speed limit, and they're really not. We've done on Lampert Avenue, we've done Main Street, High Street, Church Street a couple times, and it's surprising. There are, every now and then, you'll see one that somebody was really speeding, but overall, it's not outrageous.
When I see speeding, when I see a lot of people on Hawks Hill Road, how the people come down that hill to speed.
yeah.
I mean, a lot.
All right, thank you. Economic development, nothing? Okay. Town managers report.
Okay, a couple of my items that I was gonna mention have already been touched on, so I'll just hit them real briefly.
Real quick, do you want your report up on the screen or not? Are you good just reading it, or?
That's up to you guys. I'm just gonna read from my report, but if you want to put it up, that's fine. Either way. So Councilman Hall already touched on our water leak that was reported and found on August 23rd. That leak was on the water service lateral of 309 Hillside Drive, and Mid-Atlantic repaired the leak by about 5 p.m. that same day. And the sewer backup on Church Street in Union Bridge was reported and found on September 1st, and Fogels was called in and backup cleared by early afternoon. As Councilman Hall mentioned, that was due to roots, and we're looking at possibly lining some sewer in that area. We have a new code enforcement officer. I believe she's on this evening. Joan Hennard started as the new code enforcement officer on August 31st. Joan has an associate's degree in law enforcement and criminal justice from Anne Arundel Community College. And Joan is a retired police officer with 10 years of law enforcement in Prince George's County. In addition to serving as an officer, she was responsible for code enforcement for the city of Sept Pleasant. And currently, Joan works for the Maryland Police and Correctional Training Commission in Sykesville. As a result, Joan will primarily be working later in the day during the week and also on weekends as well. And Joan will be giving updates at the future council meetings. I speak from personally speaking, it's good to have the CEO position filled again. So if you see Joan, or if Joan wants to say hello, she is on Zoom tonight. Welcome Joan aboard.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you.
Welcome, John.
Thank you.
All right. Carroll County Bureau Resource Management stream cleanup. Resource Management coordinated a stream cleanup project in Westminster last year, and they contacted me about doing one this fall in New Windsor. The location would be from Maryland 75 Green Valley Road down to Dickinson Run, Little Pipe Creek area between Springdale Prep School, Lions Club Field, and the old wastewater treatment lagoon. Brian Madigan with Bureau of Resource Management will be getting back to me with a date, so we will need volunteers, and I'll provide more information in the future when we get some dates on that. So that'd be a good community project. The Maryland 31 water line replacement project, our engineer GMB sent an email on September 2nd, right before the Labor Day weekend, with a link to the final signed plans. A copy of those plans is now on our server. Submittal of the SHA utility permit will be later this week on Friday. And the project schedule from GMB, tentative schedule is as follows. Early October, the project will get advertised. The bids will be due in 30 days with a pre-bid meeting in the middle of that 30-day period. Bids received early November, and we'll do a bid evaluation and make recommendation by late November, and then a recommendation and approval of the contractor at the December 7th council meeting, followed by notice to proceed. That's their tentative schedule that I asked them for very recently. So the actual water line construction itself will probably begin in the spring of 2023. And again, that's the magic question is depending on material availability, but that's the same thing everybody's fighting. But once we give them notice to proceed later this year, hopefully they'll be able to mobilize, get their trailer set up, start organizing and materials and that kind of thing. So that is the tentative schedule for that. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I think Councilman Hall mentioned we have a meeting scheduled on September 13th with GMB, town staff, Mayor Rupin, Councilman Hall, and we're going to discuss the specifics, this project specifics and items of importance, which are listed below, among other things. Some of those things we want to discuss that was touched on before was permission for accessing private property. So many of the new water meters and sewer cleanouts are located outside, just at the right of way or just outside the right of way on private property. So the contractor will need permission to access and do the proposed work. So a memorandum of understanding, an MOU, was drafted and sent to Attorney Ostrander for review and comment. And there's also a copy of that draft MOU in the folder for tonight's meeting. I took the privilege, I don't know if he knows yet, I think I told him, of using Councilman Huffman as the sample because he lives right on Main Street, will be directly affected by that. So we're going to be reviewing that and getting that to form and then out to the residents. Also in kind of concert with that is making them the final connections to the new water services. This involves connecting existing water service on the private side to the new meter vaults, and this will be done by a plumber that is hired and paid for by the town. After this work is done, the plumber will remove the existing inside meters and install a small section of piping in place of the meter, and they'll make the connection from the private side plumbing to the new meter vault and the new plumbing in the public side. This will require scheduling and coordination with the homeowners. That's a very important thing we'll be discussing. And then lastly, at least in terms of this project, the inspection during construction, GMB is going to be providing construction management, which will include a resident project representative. However, the town needs to provide for the day-to-day inspection services. So I reached out to WBCM for a proposal for inspection services. We use WBCM as a county-approved engineer for inspection and engineering as well. And the town has piggybacked on that contract, and they're doing the inspection for Snyder Summit right now. So WBCM provided a not to exceed bid proposal on August 29th, and it's for 375 work days. And that proposal is $151,868.75. This is approximately 5% of the construction cost of the budget of the project. And I actually budgeted, before I got this number, for inspection services to be 10% of 300,000. So we're about half, which is, I think, fantastic. I know it's a lot of money, but that is, they're a good company, and I know from experience, you're not going to find cheaper and good quality inspection out there. I was hoping to get that approved tonight, but I was kind of forgetting. We only have 3 council folks in attendance tonight. So we're okay with pushing that to the September September work session. So that's all I have on 31. Any questions on that before I move on? And then mentioned earlier, Mayor Root mentioned about the SHA 31 project. We had our second task force meeting on the 17th of August. We had 7 members of the task force and 5 members from MDOT SHA in attendance. And SHA provided very, very large plans of the overall project. And they are hanging in the hallway if you want to take a look. And I believe, as Councilman Cornick mentioned, they did incorporate the bump outs or the curb bump outs and traffic calming on those plans. Barry Smith with SHA staff, he mentioned that they had met with senior management at SHA, and there's consideration for expanding the New Windsor project to try and meet more of the town's needs. You know, SHA is working to expand the scope and are not finished pursuing this. And they look to the task force feedback and input. And as Mayor Root mentioned, he will keep his foot on the throttle of trying to get the best project for the town in the future. And then I also did a meeting summary, as I do from the other task force meetings, and that is available also in the folder for tonight's meeting if you want to catch up on that. I forwarded it to Kevin so he could get caught up on it as well. And then the Frank G. Schaefer Memorial 5K Run Walk for 2022. It's again, it's live up on runsignup.com. The date is October 22nd, 9 a.m., Wakefield Valley Park. Clean and Dana have updated this year's flyer, and it's posted on the bulletin board, website, and Facebook. So reserve the date, start spreading the word. We also have 3 banners that we had made last year. We got to get those up in addition to the music on the main banners, which the guys put up, I believe, yesterday. Dana also did several sketches for a new shirt design this year, and the planning committee selected a new design. Abby Gruber, she is the director, City of Westminster Rec and Parks, and unfortunately will not be able to attend and help this year's race because of the change in date and a conflict with the City of Westminster event. Abby and the City of Westminster also provided many things: pop-up tents, tables, chairs, finishers, results boards, gator, etc. So we will have to adjust accordingly. So if anyone has any connections or sources for certain things like that, let me know. We do have 5 sponsors so far. We have Hans Pork and Bean, Run More, New Windsor State Bank, GMB, and Flood Zone so far. And Cleaner will be following up with the sponsors next week because of the early cutoff date for the t-shirt order. Again, supply chain issues affecting everybody. So the shirt order has to go into Spiderweb by September 29th, which we need, obviously, all the sponsors. So ideally, we can get those on the back of the shirt, same way we did last year. So what we're going to do in this case this year is participants who register before September 29th at noon, the shirts will have the second annual and then the date on it. And then after, moving forward, if you have to register after the 29th, we're going to get shirts that just have don't say second annual and don't have a date. So that way we can continue to provide shirts for registrants and after that date, and volunteers, and if we end up with leftovers, we can use them the following year. And as of today, we have 13 registered so far. So again, if you're going to participate, go ahead and get signed up. And then I mentioned that the upcoming meetings are the September 19th work session and the October 5th council meeting. That's my report.
Hey,
Gary.
Question?
Yes.
Two questions. The town's going to have a booth at Music on the Main, correct?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay. Could you possibly check to see if you could get the registration date from the 29th, September 29th, pushed back to October 3rd, especially since maybe you have some information there. You might get some people sign up the day of Musical in the Main. Just a thought.
We can try. I think Kalina has been handling the coordination with Spiderweb. You'll still be able to register after the 29th. That's
Right.
And the price isn't going to go up. It's just the shirt is going to change in that it won't say second annual and it won't have the date. Everything else will be the same.
Right.
So that's the only
Gary.
difference. Yeah.
Hey, I can actually, let me check with Bobby tomorrow
Okay.
and see if that's possible. It's only a few days later. I don't think it would make a difference, but you never know. Let me check and I'll get back to both of you.
Okay. Sounds good.
Tell Bobby I said, do me a favor.
I was
All right,
gonna,
Neil, we'll do.
I was gonna say that, Neil, but you went ahead and did it. Okay, that's all I got. Anybody
All
else?
right,
got any
thank you.
questions?
Yep.
All right.
Public Works Director, Myers?
Yeah, he's out sick.
Okay.
He did provide a report, most of which I believe Councilman Hall touched on.
All right.
Yeah.
Will, do you
I kinda
think we
went
need to add anything, or do you pretty much cover it?
Got it covered.
No,
All right. Thank you. Community Deputy?
Good evening. The Sheriff's Office, between the dates of July 1 to August 31st, I haven't been here for a while, apologize, responded to 88 calls for service within the town limits. Out of those calls for service, only 8 required reports, which were the following. On July 7th at approximately 8:41 p.m., deputies responded to the 400 block of High Street in reference to a vehicular collision into a building at the location. Investigation revealed that the driver advised that their brakes had failed, which caused the accident. Upon speaking with the driver, an odor of alcohol was detected from the driver's exhaled breath. Due to this, the driver was asked to submit to standardized field sobriety test, which the driver agreed to conduct the test. The driver was eventually arrested for suspicion of driving while under the influence of alcohol and was transported to the Maryland State Police Barracks to submit to a breath test, which resulted in a reading of 0.10 grams of alcohol per 210 liters of breath. The driver was also found to be driving without a license and would be released on the appropriate paperwork. Case was closed by arrest. On July 20th at approximately 1 p.m., deputies responded to the 200 block of Main Street in reference to a burglary of an outbuilding on said property. Investigation revealed that known suspect entered the building. However, nothing was stolen. Charges were filed in reference to this case. The case remains open pending service of the paperwork. On July 20th, at approximately 7:45 p.m., deputies responded to the 2800 block of New Windsor Road in reference to a theft in progress. Upon arrival, it was discovered that unknown suspect had grabbed items and walked out of the establishment without paying. The suspect was located and it was discovered that the subject had an active out-of-county warrant and was taken into custody without incident. Case was closed by arrest. On July 24th at approximately 2:13 a.m., deputies responded to the 200 block of Main Street in reference to a violation of a protective order. Upon arrival, it was discovered that the known suspect entered the property at the location and contacted the victim, which was in violation of the served interim protective order. The suspect was located a short distance away and was taken into custody and transported to the Carroll County Detention Center without incident. Case was closed by arrest. On on August 15th, excuse me. At approximately 6:22 p.m., deputies responded to the 100 block of Church Street in reference to a theft. Upon arrival, it was discovered that the incident actually occurred within the Westminster city limits, where the victim left their debit card inside an ATM machine at the bank. The victim further reported that unknown suspects withdrew approximately $500 out of their bank account, and case remains open pending further investigation. On August 17th at approximately 7:25 a.m., deputies responded to the 200 block of Main Street in reference to domestic in progress. Upon arrival, it was discovered that known suspect assaulted the victim after an argument regarding their cell phone. Victim was referred to the district court commissioner to file charges and a protective order. The victim did in fact file a protective order, which was later served on the suspect. Case was closed by lack of prosecution. On August 17th at approximately 2:36 p.m., deputies responded to the 200 block of Main Street in reference to a court-ordered emergency petition. The subject was located and taken into custody without incident. The subject was transported to the Carroll Hospital Center without incident for treatment, and the case was closed. On August 26, 2022, at approximately 11:58 a.m., deputies responded to the 200 block of Main Street in reference to a violation of a temporary protective order. Upon arrival, it was discovered that the suspect was on the property, which was in violation of the protective order. Suspect was taken into custody and transported to the Carroll County Detention Center without incident. Case was closed by arrest. Other than that, I thank everybody that attended National Night Out, and also those kind enough to do the sponsors and donated money to the event as well. It was greatly appreciated. But other than that, in reference to Music on the Main, I did reach out to our K9 unit. Hopefully I will have a K9 there to do a demonstration. It won't be for the full day. It will probably just be, we'll have to figure out a time frame. And also I got the, I requested, and normally I am able to always receive it, the Sydney car from the health department, which is the drunk driving impairment vehicle. Again, possibly in the afternoon we can do that. So a limited time because it's all battery powered.
Okay.
So, and October 29th, which is your shred day in town, it is also the DEA prescription drug take back day. So I will be collecting prescription drugs that day at the bank along next to the shred truck. So during the same time, and then at 1 o'clock, I will then move to Union Bridge and then collect over there from 1 to 3. So, and I do believe at Town Square there. So if you miss me here, you can go over there. Other than that, that's all I have to report.
Thank you for everything you do, Brian, and especially for National Night Out. Great success again. All right, nothing from the West Carroll Rec Council. We'll let you go on this one. Fire Chief's report. Chief Welker wasn't able to be here tonight, but calls for the month of August, 24 fire calls, 71 EMS calls. Year to date, 223 fire calls, 673 EMS calls. As we are well into the second half of the year, we want to thank the community for their support for the department and our fundraisers, and look forward to seeing you at our functions in the second half of the year. Our crab feed is Saturday, September 17th from 5 to 8 p.m. Tickets are $60. Menu includes all-you-can-eat steamed crabs, fried chicken, potato salad, sweet corn on the cob, crab soup, chips, pretzels, cake, soda, and beer. Crabs are being steamed by Harris Seafood. For taking information, please call 410-775-7402 or 443-277-0554. Just a quick reminder that school is back in session. Please remember to watch out for our children at the bus stop and walking home from school. Also pay attention to those school buses and their lights. All righty. Treasurer's report.
Nothing really to report here except that the town audit will begin this coming Monday at 9 a.m. and will last all week, and I'm sure there will be a report to follow.
All right, thank you. Water and sewer billing clerk.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Short report. Late notices were sent out on August 31st. Turn off notices, if I have any, will be posted on Monday, September 12th. And again, if I have any turn-offs, they are going to be planned for Monday or Tuesday, September 19th or the 20th. And that is all I have.
Thank you. All right, code enforcement officer, we'll let her off for tonight. Lehigh update, no one here. New business, addition of fourth person to sign checks for town business.
Okay, back to me here. Clerk Treasurer Mangus reached out to New Windsor State Bank about adding a fourth person on the town accounts to sign checks. This can be done, just need to fill out a form. The suggestion was that myself be added for redundancy in the event Mayor Roop and or Councilwoman Schultz are not available. Adding a fourth person will ensure checks get signed and bills and vendors get paid in a timely manner. So I guess we'll, with it being short-staffed there, we'll defer this and put it on the September work session so everybody can chime in on that, I would imagine.
All right.
The Planning Commission vision statement, that's the second new business there. Councilman and Planning Commission Liaison Huffman requested adding the following Planning Commission vision statement to tonight's agenda. The Planning Commission believes the mayor, town council should create and approve a vision statement. The council can review the current vision statement and revise or approve as applicable. A decision can be made again at the September work session on the 19th. And the following vision statement was first adopted in the New Windsor Community Planning Area Comprehensive Plan adopted in April 1997 and has been reaffirmed in this plan. Future decisions and activities of the community will be consistent with this vision. Members of the community will strive to bring about the changes that will make this vision attainable. So I'll just go ahead and read what is proposed. Again, the council, the mayor can review and tweak, add, whatever, adjust, and we'll discuss further at the work session. New Windsor will maintain a safe, small town atmosphere, which offers a good environment to raise children and promote family values. The clean, attractive appearance of all areas and buildings in the town will instill community pride. The town will maintain a small government which provides necessary services efficiently and effectively and adequate opportunity for citizen input. A diverse base of small businesses concentrated in the downtown area and light industry concentrated in the Tibbetts industrial area will provide a strong, stable economic tax base. So if you all want to give that some thought, and we'll discuss it at the work session next month.
Thank you. Any other new business? Old business, 2022 road paving.
Okay, so this was in my town manager's report for the August council meeting. Public Works Director Myers and myself measured 6 potential roads. Yeah, if you could, Councilman Hall, if you can bring up there's a spreadsheet that I'm going to refer to. Has a total breakdown of those costs and the different segments that we measured. Should be in there somewhere. That's it. So we, all 6 roads have been input into this spreadsheet that calculates the quantities and costs based on current costs provided by CPE, who was the paving contractor we used last, and they were gracious enough to give us some current pricing. Lambert Avenue and Hillside Drive are on this list. However, we have decided to push these back due to possible water line replacement in each of these roads. We'll be getting prices to replace the water mains, the water service laterals, and installing meter vaults on Lambert and Hillside Drive. We've had 3, I believe it's been 3 lateral service breaks on Hillside Drive alone. I think there's only 12 or 13 connections on that section of road. And that also is vital because it feeds, that line feeds from our Hillside wells there. So we're going to get some pricing on replacing those. And obviously, if you're going to replace infrastructure, water, sewer, whatever, you want to do that before you pave the roads. The ARPA money or enterprise money can be used for these projects. So there'll be more to come on those. And then again, I said the spreadsheet is provided showing the cost of all the 6 roads for review and discussion. And I know we don't have a full house there tonight, but we are kind of getting late in the year to get this RFP out to bid to allow paving in this calendar year. So we do have numbers. Our highway user revenue balance is currently $350,538, and our general fund balance is currently $613,782, and we used recently just paid $242,705 for the Dealman Inn project, but that will get reimbursed when we get money back from the grant. So our actual general fund balances will be soon $856,487. So any money that over and above the highway user money that would you decide to use or not would come from general fund monies. So as you can see in this spreadsheet, the prices have gone up for the paving portion of this. The stone base, which is the GAB, graded aggregate base, that hasn't had an impact or inflation. But your paving, your blacktop has directly related to fuel prices, and both different sections that we use for base and surface have gone up. Also, as you can see, I've put in the lengths of these roads. These roads are longer and wider than the roads that we did. It's been almost 2 years, coming up on 2 years ago. So the bang for the buck is not there with the length and width that we're looking at. So I've calculated the total amounts for each road. And then I also did a calculation taking out the graded aggregate base, which is the stone base. We figured it in, and the reason I did that is we did not use any of the graded aggregate base in any of the 9 segments that we did 2 years ago. So again, you have to plan for it. You have to put it out there. You have to get the quantities, but you can see the difference in the totals without the graded aggregate base. So just something that we need to really think about and focus on at the work session, and hopefully we can get an RFP out in time to do some roads this paving year. But you're going to start running into colder weather and when the asphalt plants shut down. So unfortunately, it's kind of a timing issue with us right now. So any questions on those numbers or
What'd you say the HUR fund was?
350,538.
So we don't need a whole lot more for the 396. If we use all of that.
If you take a Lampert and Hillside out, which is that number at the bottom, the total segments 1, 4, 5, and 6, and that's without the graded aggregate base. Yeah, you're not far off of that. But if you have to really plan for that larger number and hope you don't need that base. But that's been true so far for the roads we've done recently. That's why.
Basically, if you tear the road up and it's nothing, there's no base underneath, then you have to do that higher number.
Correct. And you don't know that until the milling machine's there. And they're taking out the old blacktop, and you get down to the base, and then the contractor knows whether that base is good or needs replaced. And we basically figure a full 6-inch section of graded aggregate base.
Okay.
Now, Wayne, Gary,
Yeah.
The issue that I see though is I think, what is the cutoff usually, like November when it starts getting too cold?
Yeah, it depends on the season. We paved up until more towards the end of November last year, but yeah, I mean we're going to be cutting it close, for sure.
All right. Then you have everything ready to put out as an RFP?
An RFP, yeah, pretty much. I have a draft version of it. I can get that between now and then. Between now and the work session, I can get that, pretty much ready to go and pull the trigger for sure. Yeah.
All right. Very good. All right.
All right.
Thank you for all that.
Yep. And then,
all right. Next. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Next item is New Windsor Lions Club trash receptacles.
Right. So again, this was on the July council agenda. We currently have 10 Lions Club receptacles at various locations in town. Thanks for pulling that up. Originally, we had 12, but 2 were removed by Public Works due to deteriorated condition. The receptacles used to have inserts that were lighter and easier to lift out, but these have been pulled several years ago. They were removed. We got contacted by Used Trash Removal, who's our current vendor for trash, and said basically that the Lion Club cans without the liners are too heavy for their workers to lift. It's basically a safety and insurance issue with them. So I had Mike look into new trash receptacles and liners that are smaller and easier to handle, but still commercial type and will do the job. And as you're seeing there, the specs and information pricing have been provided to Mayor Roop and are in the folder tonight. And I believe Mayor was going to be checking with the Lions Club about possible donations to pay for those liners. If I broke down the cost, I believe we should go back to 12 cans and liners. So the cans are $209.40 each, and then the liners are $121.95 each. That gives a total of $331.35 per can with liner. And if we go with 12 of those, that's a total of $3,976.20.
Are these
So-
the same size liner that was in the existing?
I would have to check with Director Myers on that, because since I've been here, there hasn't been liners in there. So
Yeah,
I don't
because
know
I'm just,
size.
I mean, if this truly is the same size liner, we might be able to get away with just getting liners and leaving the existing. I mean, we might have to do 2 cans for the ones that were deteriorated, but
True. Yep. Yep. So
Can
these
you
are
check on that before next Wednesday?
before next Wednesday, where you got a Lions Club meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yep. I will check with that. Let me make a note of that real quick. Hang on 1 second.
the existing trash cans are pretty heavy duty. And
They're kind of nicer looking too, aren't they? Stone on the
they're
outside?
pretty. I mean, I
Just
think
put
they would
signs
last.
on them about 2 years ago, maybe 3.
So basically you need to check if the liners will fit in, these liners would fit into the existing cans.
Correct.
And to what size what gallon
Yeah, 'cause it
capacity
says
was the old
18
liners.
inches by 34 inches. So maybe we can just measure one and see.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can do that, and I'll let you know by next Wednesday, Neil.
Yes.
Okay. That's it for old business.
Any other old business? All right, no residents' concerns. Announcements, Maryland Municipal League Chapter Dinner at the Fire Hall, September 22nd. Musical in the Main, October 1st, 1 to 7. Franklin G. Schaefer Memorial 5K Walk and Run, October 22nd, starting at 9 a.m. So talk that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor of adjourning, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Thank you, everyone.